got to the end of the scene and I was just like, damn, I want to write like that. Hey YouTube, what's up? I'm Liora Sophie, and I make videos about writing, and one of the most important aspects of being a writer is reading, because that's how we learn. We learn from other people's writing. So I also talk about books I like to read. I'm always on the lookout for good urban fantasy. First of all, shout out to Very Bad Books, who recommended me to read this series. Totally worked. I am very happy, and I intend on continuing to read the other books in this series. I struggle a little bit with YA. I'm a sucker for romance, and when there's a lot of tension between the characters, but they're not gonna have sex, that pisses me off. This is not the first book I read by Maggie Steifvater. Actually, I read Shiver and Linger. I do love Maggie's writing. I really do love the way that she puts words together. It's just so beautiful, and even though sometimes it can seem like she's telling a bit of a goofy or shallow story, there's always some real principle behind it. There was this one scene where I've only had this reaction to a handful of books that I've read in my life. And I was listening to this. I was just kind of, brushing my teeth, getting ready for bed, listening to the book, and I was up alone upstairs, so there was no one around to hear my out loud commentary on it. I got to the end of the scene and I was just like, I said out loud, I was like, damn! I was thinking, come on, this is so cliche. This is so teeny bopper. This is so, all right, you know what? I'm not even really buying the romance. And then I got to the end of this scene, and it's just this 3-word sentence. And there was so much drama and suspense and twist packed in to that one 3-word sentence. I just shouted out loud, damn! Whoa! I turned around and I yelled and I pointed at the phone that was playing my Audible app, and I was like, I want to write like that. This book is so magical. The world that she sets, it's urban, right? So it is in our world. It's in Virginia, right? The magical aspects of it are just so mysterious and fascinating, and she doesn't even really explain a lot of how things work, and she doesn't need to. It's just so fascinating on its own. Blue, who is one of the main characters, the protagonist, is a teenage girl in a family where everyone is psychic except for her. First of all, I really loved that whole setup of all the different millions of aunties and people that live in her house, because I like that. It was just so, I totally get that. There's a lot of talk about spirituality, and the other characters are working on this mission where they're basically searching for like localizations of spiritual energy that will lead them on this quest to discover whatever. They have a very real motive and a very real reason for looking for it, but the point is, it's these boys that are looking for spiritual energy, and I thought that was awesome. I really liked that. I wasn't sold at first. It sounded really good. The premise sounded really good. The first thing, that is like in the description of the book is this: if a non-psychic can see a spirit on St. Mark's Eve, it's for one of 2 reasons. Either he's your true love or you killed him. And that's really, okay, great. Awesome concept, pulled me right in. But the boys really pissed me off at the beginning. They're really obnoxious. So it took me a while to kind of decide that I was gonna like this book, that it wasn't just gonna be, teenagers and their teenage drama. I like Blue. I like that she's named Blue. That's really eccentric, and it matches who she is. She's really eccentric. And she's a total badass, and she takes zero bullshit, which is really awesome for someone that age. And, it kind of, it makes sense. You look around and she has all of these really powerful female role models, so it's good to see their strength and zero bullshit tolerance rubbing off on her. And she's not, always Miss Fabulous social skills, but she has her moments with the fast quips and the snarky comments, and it's cool. Gansey is a dick. It literally, his name is Richard. And at one point, I think Blue even calls him a dick, and he gets like really offended. I'm not gonna say he grows. I haven't really seen an arc so much, but he opens up. More of him becomes exposed to the reader and to Blue throughout the story, and that was cool to see. But he and even though you kind of see this more vulnerable, more sensitive, delicate side of him, you don't stop seeing the rolling in dough, dollar signs jackass that, extreme privilege guy, which is how he really presents. I really did wonder multiple times throughout the book why there was only one girl. I mean, I get it, okay, there's this gang of boys and they do things together, and Blue joins them because of whatever reasons, but really why was there only one girl? Success meant nothing to Adam if he hadn't done it for himself. I wondered about this line. Why is that a thing? What is so wrong about accepting help? One of the themes are the struggles that can be a part of friendship where money is involved. And that is a theme that I really related to. It seems like Gansey struggles with this, that, he feels like people only ever see his money and they don't see anything else about him. And he at some point he breaks down. He's like, why is every kindness I do charity to you? Now, why do you always think it's pity? And he's like, I'm just being kind. And honestly, I really understand this. I really understand. It is really tough because there's, in so many situations, you do end up, even if you accept things from your rich friends, they turn around and act like you owe them something. Even if it's not money, they expect some kind of emotional loyalty and commitment forever and ever. And I understand Adam's reactions to Gansey's generosity as well. This quote came back a couple of times and it pissed me off every time. Because as a teenager, I just would have freaked me the fuck out. I mean, it threw me back into my 14-year-old body, going around on adventures with my girlfriend, places that were way out of my comfort zone. When you're depending on someone else for your safety, it's not cool to be snarky about it. Like, come on. Is this thing safe? Give her a fucking answer. Is it safe? No. If they say it's not safe, give her the option to get off the helicopter. Not cool. There were a lot of really subtle hints throughout the book about different types of supernatural aspects of certain characters. There would be like a super subtle hint. Oh, hey, this character is actually dead. It's like a joke. I took it seriously because this is the world I live in. Yeah, of course he's dead. Sure, no problem. He's dead. He's walking around. Did dead people walk around all the time? And so for a really long time, really long time through that book, I suspected that Gansey was some type of immortal, in the sense that Gansey basically, his death is predicted on like the first page or the first chapter. So you go into the story knowing that Gansey is doomed to die before you even know who Gansey is. And then when you meet him, you're like, oh, that guy's gonna die. As I got further into the book, I sort of suspected that even if he died, it wouldn't really impact him so much. Like, and then there was this moment where he is an antagonist is holding a gun to his head. In that moment, I was suddenly completely certain that he was 100% a normal mortal teenager. And obviously, so then it was terrifying. I was like, oh my god, no, don't do that. Don't kill this guy. There were a couple of options for romantic couplings, and it was way deep in, halfway into the book, I still had no idea which coupling the author was shipping. I wasn't shipping any of them. I mean, I sort of was hoping that something would develop, but it didn't really, I didn't feel it. But this changed, Gansey grew on me a lot. He started out as just 100% jerk, and then throughout the book, I sort of suddenly realized, oh, hey, he's kind of charming. And then a couple chapters later, I was like, why is he hot? He's hot, and he's such a douchebag. I mean, listen to the shit he's saying. How does he even think that comment is flirtatious? That is so... If that was me, and somebody had just said that to me, I would be, like, completely repulsed. At some point, Gansey got into his car and turned on the engine, and I was like, I can't believe the Camaro is still running this far into the story. I don't know anything about cars. I personally really related to this theme, where Gansey feels like his words are weapons. Like, he feels like his words, he can't trust himself not to do more damage with his own words. I have struggled with that myself my whole life. I am impulsive and a little bit sharp-tongued, and and I don't mean to be, but I am often, not on purpose. And I just really felt that really deeply. That is a real struggle. And if I met Gansey today, I would say, hey, there's hope. This is a thing you can work on and get better at controlling. It doesn't have to control you. I worked on it because at a certain point I was like, look, my words are coming out sounding ways I do not mean them to sound. So I just asked my friends, my closest friends, to be super honest with me, and anytime I said something that sounded mean or rude or conceited, I said, I need you to tell me, because I don't know. I need you to tell me so I can do better next time. And they did. And it was hard. It was painful. It was, embarrassing and humiliating and ugh. But it helped, because when I knew what to look for, when I knew what sounded bad, then I could remind myself not to do that next time. And now I'm sharp-tongued when I want to be. So, sure, I can take someone's head off if I think they deserve it, but it's not automatic. I feel like I have much more control over it now than I did when I was 16. I thought it was funny that sometimes the author would just say that a character said a certain choicey swear word and not say what it was, and then just a few lines later they'll just say fuck in the dialogue. Somebody called Gansey an SRF, and the S was for soft and the R was for rich, and the F was for something else. And I'm like, okay, that's really adorable. And then they just say fuck. Okay, whatever. Thought that was funny. One other thing that I liked was this quote, which is talking about one of the characters who struggles with his abusive father. You see a lot of abusive fathers in literature, but you don't necessarily see this other aspect where the victim is apologizing for being alive. I felt that was strong. You don't see that, and that's really important. It's a really important part of it. I liked that they talked about the kissing before anything happened. They communicated about it. That was very nice to see. There were a couple of these visions where you see the characters imagining or hallucinating, or maybe, you know, there's a kind of vague thing that they see and they don't know. You don't know. The characters don't know. The reader doesn't know if it's telling the future or if it's just, you know, showing you what they want to see, or you don't know what it is. And that was a very intriguing part of the story, because you read these scenes and you're like, ooh, whoa, well, that's, you know, whoa, is that gonna happen? Is this the future of these characters, or is this just telling us what they feel, what they think? And I really liked that. Really liked it. It was, I think it added a dimension to the development of the relationships between the characters in a very creative way that added a lot of suspense, and also, whatever, it was awesome.